This is going to be done probably the next day or two. And I have no idea because Steph's doing all that. Then over here is going to be a podcast, like come in, sit on the couch or chair, bullshit podcast.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, that's great.
We're still a ways away, but this is like as kind of good as it's getting today. And I'm like, I got to do a video because I haven't done anything the last couple of days because of
I'm gonna come in and sit on that couch.
You should come out to Nash Vegas.
Yeah, Nash Vegas. Yeah,
Nash Vegas. What's going on? What are you doing? What's the word? What's the word in the entertainment industry?
Oh, okay. So a little AI update just because this was amazing. They just released a new AI model that this video, like both of us are taking right now, or that video of you, all of a sudden I'd said he has a mohawk and he's on top of Mount Everest and it's snowing at night. And it looked like you filmed you with a real mohawk on top of a mountain at night, even though what I filmed is just us. Like I could be like this, and all of a sudden it says, he's underwater. They did, the Matrix scene where it had Neo and Morpheus fighting in the dojo. They replaced it. They're underwater in a pool, and when they move, it does the ripples and the water. And instead of being in the dojo, they're underwater in a pool.
Is this the reason? Is AI the reason now that James Cameron is going to release 7,500 versions of? He's running out because he went from air to water to land. Now he's like underneath the earth, and the next one's going to be ice cubes, and then he's going to be in your refrigerator.
Well, it's going to be the exact same story over and over again.
That's all it is.
It's the exact same story, just in a different, this is the water version.
I feel like he just goes and he just scratches out the names and he just puts somebody else, and he's like, here you go.
You know what happens? He's gotten so rich that he's just like, yeah, I'll just make another one because everybody's going to go see it.
Did you see the trailer?
I did.
And?
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
I want to see something new. And you know what I hate? I'm rooting for the humans. You're supposed to be rooting for the Avatar people.
Yeah.
The Navaja, whatever. I'm like, you're kind of irritating me now. Can I hope the humans take over and do something fun?
You're fucking always whining. Every planet we come to take over, you're whining.
You're whining, yeah. I'm like, okay, maybe the humans can do something better with this.
Oh, goodness me. Well, that's cool. I saw that ChatGPT, what'd they say? Passes I'm not a robot test and is developing its own mind.
Yeah, which is it's convinced itself that it's not a robot.
Well, look for me with the red tie.
Exactly. But when it comes to the film industry, and I know, again, very unpopular, and I've said this in beginning this week to some people, how are studios going to compete when one guy by himself can make the Avengers? How is it? What does a studio have, and what does that process get you when I can say, I just made the Avengers movie, it looks just as good. Hey, Mr. Beast, you want to go tweet about it, and I'll cut the money with you, and I've got more exposure than releasing, Fantastic Four, which I liked, to AMC, and have to spend $500 million. The industry doesn't. It's a dead man walking, and it doesn't understand it. Its business practices are 100 years old.
Yeah,
and it's still trying to just say, I'm just going to make things cheaper with AI, but I'm continue doing 100-year-old business practice. Not I'm going to learn to create new ways to do business with this new technology. It's no. You know why? Because it's been a cult for so long. So now there's
game in town.
It's been the only game in town. It's a total cult. But you know what? Just like Hail Bop, that cult's not going to last long.
Did you think of that all day? You're like, this is
it's my go-to cult.
I got this joke. Bam!
Exactly.
Whoa!
It's always my favorite cult.
You saw Fantastic Four?
Yep. I thought it was good. I liked it. I'm a big Fantastic Four fan. I had to get over the fact that Mr. Fantastic was Hispanic, but once I got past that, I realized that you're not allowed to have a white couple ever again. And
I thought that was
so they just, instead of it being a black man, they just made it a little shade lighter, made it a Hispanic man. But their child is very Aryan. I thought that was very funny.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That was funny. I'm like, interesting.
When you say Aryan, Paul, do you mean Aryan?
Oh, I do.
This?
My body's composition is determined by my genes. Hey, eyes up here.
Sydney Sweeney has very keen.
Now, before we go to the next one, I want to tell you guys, first of all, yeah, she does. Secondly, Nice. That's
Thirdly-
a commercial about jeans. Says so right there. Okay, so the people that are going to lose their shit here in a minute, we'll play some of it. But if you want to lose your shit, if you're really thinking about this, so just hear what she said. Hey, up here, it's jeans. She's talking about freaking jeans. She's wearing denim, for God's sakes. She's got a freaking Canadian tuxedo on. This is Calvin Klein, 1980, Brooke Shields at the height of yo, baby. And if you want to talk about where you could go, I feel like maybe there's something here.
The secret of life lies hidden in the genetic code.
Yeah, it does.
Genes are fundamental in determining the characteristics of an individual and passing on these characteristics to succeeding generations. Occasionally, certain conditions produce a structural change in the gene, which will bring about the process of evolution. This may occur in one or more of the following ways. Firstly, by selective mating, in which a single gene type proves superior in transmitting its genes to future generations. Secondly, by gene drift, in which certain genes may fade away while other genes persist. And finally, by natural selection, which filters out those genes better equipped than others to endure in the environment. This may result in the origin of an entirely new species, which brings us to Calvin's and the survival of the fittest.
Calvin Klein jeans.
I hadn't seen that before, and that's incredible.
So
that was a very attractive young lady.
well, it's Brooke Shields, for God's sake.
And she had impeccable genes.
She did. But
Yeah.
let's be real. I mean, that what, and by the way, she wasn't talking about Nazis. They were talking about freaking, look, beautiful people wear beautiful jeans and beautiful people mate and beautiful people hook up with each other. And that's just it. Same thing with old Sydney Sweeney there. Sydney Sweeney, curves in the right places. She's definitely, D's get degrees, if you will. And she's doing okay. It's not a Nazi propaganda.
You know who thinks it is? Is scientifically illiterate. The idea that you would jump to Nazis because you're so scientifically illiterate and basically backward that you think the only usage of genes and genetic hierarchy could only reflect a Nazi propaganda concept. Did you not go through high school science? Genes have nothing to do with it. One parent contribute genes to their offspring. Those genes are not a racial identity. It's absolutely absurd that we allow people this ignorant to enter the conversation.
Paul, I'm going to say where you're wrong. You're going way too far. What it really is very average women, and at times larger women, and at times debatable on the women, saying how horrible this is because of whatever reason, when the reality is, if you look like her and they came to you today and said, hey, you want to do your jeans commercial? You'd be like, hell yeah, I do.
American Eagle using fashion as a way to influence young middle American women ages 15 to 25 because that's their demographic. In their prime reproductive years to focus on purity and passing down the correct genes. And they thought it was a cute double entendre, but it wasn't. Oh, and don't think this was an accident. This was very intentional, and it would not have mattered one bit if a person of color was in the room because this message was not intended for us. Oh, and it landed for its intended market. Fashion companies use ads to send out very alarming messages. This isn't the first time, and it won't be the last.
Don't forget to boycott American Eagle for their racist shit online, talking about blue jeans and white people. Boycott American Eagle. Boycott the shit out of them. Boycott American Eagle. Do not buy them. And cancel this person. Miss Sweeney, cancel for her being racist, for doing Nazi propaganda. Cancel American Eagle.
Yeah, because she came up with the ad. You freaking clown.
Only idiots could think that has to do with some form of racial propaganda of any kind.
You literally have to be the color of her skin.
Troglodyte. No, seriously, you literally have to be unevolved for your minuscule little hamster brain to jump to a racial conclusion in that commercial. So why should we listen to the mentally disabled?
And yes, those people are, well, one of them I think the first one was trying to with a clout chase, trying to look at me,
Probably.
look at me. The second one is like, look at me.
Yeah.
Cancel this lady right here. Let me tell you why. She talked about white people. She never did. And it's about genes. You wish you could look like her in a heartbeat. You'd sell your soul today to
Yes.
look like that. So settle down. If I look like Sydney Sweeney, who, let's be real, easy on the eyes. She's an actress. You can go to the mall. You can find a lot of those things. But she pulled it off well. And just get over it, for God's sakes, you psychopath.
And I'm not a fashion person. I'd never heard of American Eagle to start with. Now I'm waddling my fat ass in. I want to buy a pair of American Eagles.
Paul,
I don't know if I
this.
can.
I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm going to say this because I love you. If you and I walked over to American Eagle today, they would look at you and go, you need to leave. Right? The big and husky is over here. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
You and I go to Tough Skins.
let me shoot a DXL. That's where they have it in tin size.
That's right. Do they have it in tall and big? They have it in yes. Do they have it in squatty and boxy? Oh, goody.
Oh, that's good. It's this thing of this acceptance. We accept everybody but the pretty. Because for some reason we can't admit to ourselves that what you mean I don't look as good as they do. You're right. I can put 100 dudes that probably work out and do everything that look better than me. Okay. Yeah. Why do I have to? That doesn't. Yes, better genes.
Yeah, she does. Pretty.
Well, also they work out and they don't eat everything they want. But
what's really is very interesting. I remember it was, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. There was this. There was something about it was on MTV back when they had the Request Live thing, and they had this model, and she was there, and this lady, this young girl stood up, and I think they were talking about eating disorders and things of that nature. And some lady, some girl said, how do I get to look like you? And the other girl, she was kind of homely. She says, you're never going to look like me. She goes, I hit the genetic jackpot. She goes, I'm tall, I'm beautiful, everything's proportional. Nothing ever that you could do could ever make you look like me. You just can't.
And here's the thing too. It's like, we've seen that there was an example of a white woman there. Not all white women look like that.
No.
It's literally a genetic lottery.
It is.
There's attractiveness is a trait that is not necessarily passed down like that. Because I've seen ugly parents with good looking kids and vice versa.
Man. When we lived in England, when Kenny and I lived in England, our host family, parents, oh my God, you would thought, what the hell? Their daughters, whoa, fucking crazy.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
You could see attractive parents. You're like, oh, what happened there? How did that work? Because again, there is no racial connotations. There is no genes is something that is hand down. And it is, epigenetically speaking, quasi environmental / chance.
Yeah. It's also luck and draw. I've seen beautiful people with very average and below average looking kids. They're kids, but you would think, well, how did that happen? Sometimes too positive make a negative and vice versa. It is still
see in families. You get 3 daughters. One of them could be beautiful. The other 2, they didn't seem to get the same genes, did they?
Yeah. You got a small, a medium, and a large.
Yeah.
Didn't work that way. So that was just, I thought it was hilarious because I asked myself, first of all, how do you get to that? But what's your process? What's your process like? Do you wake up in the morning and then you are angry at everybody and everything? You're looking to be microaggressed. You go to Twitter, you see Sydney Sweeney, and now you decide to throw away all of your genes and then go straight to the internet to talk about what?
You doom scroll until you find something that you can virtue signal on. That's what I think they do in the morning. Those women, because they don't do their hair and they don't do their makeup and they're not checking out their outfits.
No,
clearly they put the wrap on, so they don't have to do their hair. They walk and they doom scroll. So they go, what can I make my little circle of friends see myself as a virtuous person? Oh, I'm going to point this out. Look how good I am because I'm the one that can point out the evil in this world.
Well, I mean, that's, why do you have to, because you're going after another woman. Dude, that's the other thing. You're going after another woman. She didn't write the ad. She didn't do anything like that. It's an ad. She understands that she's beautiful. There's a privilege that comes with that. She gets it, and we move on. right? It's like you don't always have to nitpick. You can just go, that's okay. I know who you're selling to.
Yeah.
Right.
And what does it hurt? You know what? You're right. Pretty women have advantages in life that the rest of us won't have. Okay.
Absolutely.
That's life.
Yes.
That's life. Guess what else? Hard work gives you advantages that lazy people don't have. There's a lot of things I can put into ways you get advantages above other people. A pretty girl just will.
Yeah.
And she didn't like in vitro. She wasn't like, I'm going to change my genes to make me pretty.
Yeah.
It just happened.
Pretty girls too. I'm pretty guys.
Yep.
It's been shown for years in study after study. Tall, good-looking men and beautiful women at work in particular will get more opportunity as far as second chances, things of that nature, all of those kind of things that you would think, and they also, a lot of people defer because they think somebody's pretty or this, that, and the other, that somehow they have some sort of superior intelligence just because it's a look thing. It's not true, but I just don't get the anger. Now, I also know this. My buddy who's got a brokerage firm, I won't say what it is, but he said, I will not hire pretty women. I won't.
Oh, really?
If somebody comes in and they're brilliant, no. Or they separate a work. Because it's too much of a hassle. It
That's
is
interesting.
And I'm like, damn, dude. He goes, I don't need distractions and I don't need lawsuits.
When it comes to, because when it comes to business, it should literally be, if you're attractive, cool. If you're not attractive, cool. What is your ability to make me money?
Yeah.
And if you're attractive and have the ability to make me money, cool, I'm hiring you. If you're ugly and have the ability to make me money, I'm hiring you.
If it's a tie, it goes to the runner.
Yeah, if it's a tie, the attractive one might win, by the way.
Yeah, that's
it's
a
tie
let's be honest there. Well,
Bessie.
You okay? Huh? You can get up? Well, I can't believe one of your legs is shorter than the other. I wouldn't have known that. How are you, darling?
Which again, like
it's life, man. It's life.
It's life, and that's the biggest hurdle our society needs to grab. Yeah, again, me pontificating, but the biggest hurdle our society needs to grab.
You're not getting over any hurdle.
Is life. Exactly. Yeah. There's no hurdle. Well, little ones. The little like speed bump. Life exists outside of our personal. We need to conform to reality, not force reality to conform to us.
Yeah. Well, that's been the problem, right? Like that's been the absolute problem for the last umpteen years, I mean, and we're a fat society. I read a study the other day that more than half of the dogs and cats in America are obese.
Well, no joke. When companies are having problems like clothing companies, the fat companies aren't.
No. Well, we got
they literally the DXLs aren't having problems. They seem to be going along fine because we have too many fat people. We have too many fat people in this country.
Yes.
It's a sign of being able to be lazy and wealthy and eat what you want, but you don't find this in like Ethiopia. You don't find these in these poor, impoverished countries where they have obesity epidemics. It's like, what do you mean epidemic?
What's that look like?
What does that look like? It means instead of famine, we just have everywhere just like donuts everywhere.
Israel's like, let us show you how this works.
Exactly.
I mean, nothing's happening. We drop all kinds of food on them. Did you know? Really? Because I'm thinking that's not true. We'll get to that in a second. By the way, let's just say this about Donald Trump. Should be the new rule for him.
That he's obese?
Donald, answer a question about Epstein. You know what? That's old news. I don't want to talk about. Let's talk about some other stuff. Don't say that, then go into a 5-minute dissertation about Epstein and your pals, and also the third way that they're not. Did you see him talk about Epstein and how they were friends and how they weren't friends? No. So there's been 3. This is the third way they broke up. This one may be my favorite because you don't have to answer every question.
No,
that's such old history. Very easy to explain, but I don't want to waste your time by explaining it. But
okay, starts out. I don't want to waste your time by explaining it. All right, here we go.
For years, I wouldn't talk to Jeffrey Epstein. I wouldn't talk because he did something that was inappropriate. He hired help, and I said, "Don't ever do that again." He stole people that worked for me. I said, "Don't ever do that again." He did it again, and I threw him out of the place. Persona non grata. I threw him out, and that was it. I'm glad I did, if you want to know the truth. And by the way, I never went to the island, and Bill Clinton went there supposedly 28 times. I never went to the island, but Larry Summers, I hear, went there. He was the head of Harvard. And many other people that are very big people. Nobody ever talks about them. I never had the privilege of going to his island. And I did turn it down, but a lot of people in Palm Beach were invited to his island. In one of my very good moments, I turned it down. I didn't want.
First of all, it's not a privilege to go to Rapey Island.
Well, you know what I think is funny is, do you notice how the media seems to be backing a little bit because they interviewed, you know, Ghislaine, whatever her name is, Ghislaine Maxwell, and they're like, "What do you mean the previous administrations never even talked to you?
Yeah.
What do you mean that nobody's ever?"
The Department of Justice has never talked to her.
It's like, oh, Trump's doing a cover up, and they never even talked to him.
Yeah, no, the Department
They
of
didn't
Justice.
find. She gave 100+ names, but no one talked to her before.
No, he needs to release the island. He needs to release S. Jones Jackson. He needs to release the files though, because you keep
100%.
going back and forth, and it gets a little weird. And she has been subpoenaed, and she has said she will come based on this and this and this. She'll come
she's
and
trying to make a deal.
Gives her clemency.
Yeah.
Which, dude, if you give her clemency, I will spend every waking moment talking about what a POS you are. She is as bad as they are.
Oh, really? Because I'd give her clemency that much. Because if there's 100 powerful people that she could take down, I would give one clemency to take down 100 any day of the week.
But they're not going to take down 100.
Well, if she would have had evidence, if she had evidence, they said, "I will give you 100 child molester names if you let me off." 100%, I'll do it.
No.
There you go.
No.
I'm gonna let you off, and I'm gonna get 100 people.
The girls, Virginia Giuffre, who was one of them, we'll talk about her in a second, and Sarah Ransom. Virginia, she committed suicide this year. Yeah. Sarah Ransom is still fighting this. She got paid out and everything. They both, as well as a lot of them, said, "Oh, she was 100 times worse than freaking he was. She was the one who took my clothes off. She was the one that started."
Oh, wow,
everything.
really?
Yeah, she's a child molester.
Yeah,
she's not just a facilitator.
But still, if I could take down 100 powerful child molesters and let one off,
yeah. But how do you believe?
I would
her?
make that trade.
How do you believe her?
Well, evidence. She has to come literally evidence.
But you're in jail. She got no evidence.
Well, do you don't think she may have somewhere in some lockbox somewhere some get out of jail free cards?
I don't know. I mean, I would like to think. I mean, that, but you also have to remember, if they're that powerful, where are you going to go?
Well, if they're all being taken down, maybe
just because just because you get taken down doesn't mean you can't take somebody out. Come on, you even watch a television show?
Well, you know what? We don't talk about, what was it? Was it in Australia? And then I think it was Brussels or something like that. The same thing happened. The guys were named. They put the guy that was like the Epstein guy in prison for 5 years? Uh-huh. And then he got out in some cushy deal. But all those politicians never got named. This has happened in multiple countries, multiple times, because our Hollywood elites and our politicians really are scumbags.
Well, they are.
And this isn't just an American thing. This has happened over and over.
Worldwide thing.
And they all get off. They all get off. In every country this happened, they've got off. The Franklin one, that happened earlier, like in the 80s here. Yeah. That black guy went to jail. Nobody else did. Yeah. And now he runs, I think, a car dealership because he didn't even stay in jail that long. Yeah. He was the fall guy. But who is he selling kids to?
That's just it. Somebody's buying him.
Somebody's buying him. So yes, he did sell kids, but who did he sell kids to? And he went to jail. Nobody else did.
Him, right? It wasn't that guy that just comes out of the freaking corner and says, "Hey, we caught you here. You're on to catch a predator." No, you were catching somebody because there was an end product. You had somebody who was buying the product, and it's horrible to say that. Who is it?
Well, I would make that deal. She'd stay in jail until we made sure we could prosecute the name she put. Yeah. So if she was going to give us 100 names, that was somebody posted that.
I myself, but if I still don't think anything is going to come out of this because there is, because how do you believe, first of all, how do you believe her? Because, going after 100 names and stuff doesn't mean anything, because remember, they're also going to flip on each other too.
Yeah.
Right. And Trump also knows that. And is Trump involved or isn't he involved in any of this stuff? He's acting weird enough. At some point, somebody's go, dude, you got to stop freaking being weird. right? Just come
Can't
out.
be Trump, unfortunately. This is how
you
Trump
got to
always
stop. And when somebody, you know what? You don't have to answer every question.
It's true. And here's the weird thing. We're talking about before he was even running for office, back when he was a Hollywood star, basically. And nobody's acting like, oh, was he the only Hollywood star that went on that plane and was with Epstein?
No.
Or is there not a long list of Hollywood
just
stars?
Because you're on the plane doesn't mean anything.
No, but there's a long list. But again,
well, I mean, there's a lot
biased.
of people named on the list from, the Bill
from
Gates,
Tom Hanks to Robert De Niro
so there are people named on it, but you've got to stop. First of all, he changes the story every 5 minutes about this, which drives me crazy. It's like, dude, stick with the story. So first of all, you outbid him for a piece of property. That's why you guys stop being friends. So he showed you a piece of property. You ended up outbidding him, and you were pissed because he drove up the price, but then you sold it to a Russian oligarch for like $50 million profit a few years later. So that was him. Then that's why you weren't friends. Then the next reason you're not friends is because he hit on a member of Mar-a-Lago's daughter who was underage, and you thought he was creepy and you threw him out. Now it's because he stole employees, including Virginia Giuffre, who was one of the women that worked there, who was underage. And Trump's like, well, I don't really want to talk about it. Then he goes on this long diatribe about, it was her. And you're just like,
but we do have the records that Trump agreed to testify against Epstein if anything ever happened at his first trial. We have that. We know that happened because that is in the past. And it's not like he time machine, even though
no, he went and gave a deposition.
Yeah,
already
against him.
And there's stuff out there. There's a deposition where he pleaded the fifth to everything outside of knowing Trump. And yes, we hung out and stuff. It's just, dude, just pick a lane, stay in it, and stop asking questions.
What I love of all the people on that list, Trump's the only one that we know that did a deposition against Epstein.
No, there were several others.
The Hanks, all these, the De Niro's.
But the thing is, De Niro, like meeting him once, like if you and I met him once, we're not going to go give a deposition.
They're on that plane, flight list. They weren't just meeting him once. They're on the plane flight list a few times. And I don't see them having, like a decade or more ago, depositions against. And that's what I think, again, the media is so biased.
That wasn't political. What that says to me is you knew a lot more about maybe what was going on, and you were in a much closer proximity to him because they shared a girlfriend. You know that, right?
Well, Trump had those beauty pageants, so I'm sure he shared many.
It
wasn't an underage girlfriend.
They shared a girlfriend for a while. Some 20-year-old. They used to call her their little secret. And they knew that they were both dating her. She's pretty hot too. And that was just before he met Melania. It wasn't like he was 100. She wasn't underage. She was above age.
And back then, Trump wasn't, he did all those, this is my thing. He did all these, beauty pageants.
Yeah.
If he was really a predator, that's a lot of girls to be able to predator against. You don't hear the Weinstein stories about him. About who? About Trump. Weinstein had all these pretty young actresses around. You heard a million stories came out about how he was just, you know what? There is a interesting story that I'm surprised more people aren't talking about. Luther Campbell from 2 Live Crew, who he and Trump have had a very interesting relationship. And he said Trump invited him to Mar-a-Lago. And this was years ago on Sirius. And he said, I went there and it was going to be a party. He says, hey, well, a bunch of girls from the beauty pageant are coming over or whatever. And he goes, I know what beauty pageant was, but Luther, Luther's down for whatever, And so 2 Live Crew was they're the guys who got arrested on stage for being too lewd. And so they were crazy. So he says he goes to the party and he goes, the first thing is, I walk in and he goes, it's eyes wide shut. So it's kind of weird. It's at Mar-a-Lago. And he goes, second thing I noticed, he goes, is, people getting their freak on, whatever. Luda's good with that. He goes, but the thing I noticed immediately was, I'm not sure everybody here's over 18. And he goes, Luther don't need to be blackmailed and he don't need to go to jail. There is no evidence that Trump and Epstein ever dated the same person. Oh, yes, there is. He's even talking. Oh, where is it? Because AI does not find any evidence, according to 5 different, from the Independent UK, from MSN, Time.com. There's no evidence that they dated the same girl. Oh yeah, they did. They dated. God, what's her name?
Oh, let me see if I can find it. She was 20 too.
So of course I am looking at there's no confirmed case of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein dating the same woman. Stacey Williams, a former Sports Illustrated model, dated Epstein for a few months in the early 90s and publicly stated that Trump was a constant presence during that time. Williams is not claimed to have dated Trump herself. Virginia Giuffre comes up. She was recruited by Ghislaine Maxwell at Mar-a-Lago.
Maxwell, dude, I'm telling you, you got to get out of that. That you cannot let her out. How do you even trust her, dude? Honestly, how would you?
No. I said it has to be proof. She has to come with literally.
No, I know, but
proof.
For me or anybody else out there, how do you trust somebody who is looking for a get out of jail free card? Because you're asking who and what do I have to say to somebody about?
But my thing is, this is fishy. No one talked to you before.
That's
no Justice Department. This is fishy. So, do you have something? But nobody talked to you. Like, how do we know that she doesn't have, like, well, in a safe, and in my apartment somewhere, I can prove that these people were engaging in this stuff. But the other administrations never cared to look into it. The press dropped it like a hot potato the second Epstein died. No one cared to carry this on until Trump potentially got involved. Now people want to carry it on. Yeah, but for the last 5 years, no one cared about it.
Remember the nobody cared because even some of the left, like Ro Khanna said, look, we thought this was more of a wackadoo conspiracy theory than anything else.
And one of the wackadoo conspiracists, I always cared about it. You can look back. I was always like, Epstein never killed himself. Why won't anybody look into this? But they didn't. Now that Trump is involved, it's the biggest news story on earth. Well, it kind of always was. The same powerful people that would be implicated now are the same ones that be implicated 5 years ago.
Yes.
But nobody cared back then. The media didn't care. Nobody cared. And that's why it's getting a little pathetic.
Now, for me, I've always thought we're never going to get anything out of it because we can't get anything out of it because
I'm not sure we'll ever get
anything out. Are too powerful to allow anything to get out. And you notice how when powerful people are around, and I'm talking heads of state, royalty, all that kind of stuff, people tend to slip and break their neck. Have you noticed that? I don't think he killed himself, and that was on Trump's watch. Why is it now? Did you find out that they said, oh, they actually have full undoctored film that's not been cut up or messed with the missing minute, because that happens all the time because computers do that. Said nobody ever. Like it's fucking, what was that, 1999 when was it, when everybody thought it was going to go?
If it was big on tapes, you had to put the VHS in and out. Yeah. Then you might have a few missing. I got to change the VHS tape.
You had that.
Yeah.
You had that. What was that thing called? Laserdisc.
Laserdisc. Yes. If we had that technology, then I'd believe this more. Oh, well, yeah, you got to change over the the tapes. Here's my thing. If someone is at that level that's playing around with this stuff and playing around and making sure that things go missing.
Yeah.
Look at, we just, people don't care, but Obama, and the FBI and the CIA created a conspiracy to try and frame Trump for a Russia collusion that never existed. They were doctoring evidence and doing stuff. If they could do it to the president, they can't do it to some random pedophile? Of course they could. If it implicated their buddies, they could doctor the evidence and make sure that evidence never got out.
Oh, absolutely, they could have.
So if they can do it,
look, could they have doctored the evidence? It's possible, but if you didn't care about it and you didn't go after them years ago, where you could have gotten them because you just thought it was something stupid.
Well, I guess the Biden administration didn't care at all. They had it for 4 years and didn't do a thing. Didn't raise. Isn't that
hilarious? Where they're like, wait a minute, we could have used this and just freaking destroyed him, and we didn't, and it was right there.
That's why I don't believe it.
What?
So all those investigations, $30 million giving Trump anal exams, they going through a conspiracy to drum up Russia conspiracy that didn't exist, and they had evidence on Trump and didn't drop it. Don't believe it. That's hard to believe. So you guys,
but they didn't. You've got to look for it, Paul.
They didn't know all the Hollywood people they are friends with. No one said, "Hey, you should check this Epstein guy out." Because
no, because they knew about Epstein, but he was already like a done deal. He'd already been served his time and whatnot. And if he's protected, by, as some people say, he's essentially owned by the intelligence world. You're probably not going to get as much.
And we know the intelligence world manufactured evidence to try and keep Trump down, but they, having this, didn't know, oh wait, we got more than just manufactured evidence. We can literally take him down very easily. We can just release some of this stuff. And they didn't. That makes it all incredibly hard for me to believe. They went to the point of literally faking a dossier.
Well, they didn't fake
him to Russia.
A dossier that was faked and spun and decided to throw it in there.
So they say they had this where they go, okay, we're going to create a false conspiracy about him, release it to our henchmen, which is the media, because they'll just gobble it up because they kiss our asses nonstop, and they're just going to run with it, and everybody's just going to believe us. But they had legitimate stuff against him and never released it. I can't believe that. That's hard to believe.
But here's Paul. It's not hard to believe if, though, that same legitimate stuff would also topple your party.
But how would it? Because right now it looks like it's not going to top. The Democrats are like, oh, we need to get this out. So it doesn't look like it's going to topple.
Well, no, because I think at the time now they don't care if there's a freaking Clinton on there. They don't care about some of those people. They don't care because and I don't think. By the way, I still don't think that Bill or Trump has done anything.
I actually don't think Bill either did. By the way,
I know Bill never had trouble.
He probably did, but I don't think he's a pedophile. Bill Clinton.
No.
Bill Clinton. I honestly think, did he sleep with 20-year-olds? He probably did.
Probably. If you could, and you're that age, and you had your choice is Hillary, you're fucking going to totally do
that. Sorry, if your choice is Hillary. But, I do believe that. I do not believe he's a pedophile. I still don't.
No, and the problem with Trump is his messaging is shitty in this.
It is.
And he is, I think for me, my biggest question is, what did you know? When did you know it?
If I think that maybe Trump's covering up the fact that he also was sleeping with 20-year-olds, maybe, but honestly, Clinton's not admitting that either, and I'm not sure why.
What?
Like Clinton's really implicated. Nobody talks about it. I mean, he was there multiple times on that plane, going to that island a lot of times, and no one's questioning him at all. Because if you wanted to get insight on who was the island with you, well, I was on the island 20 times and Trump was right next to me with a margarita.
Yeah, but you know what, man? Everybody CYAs themselves. They go mafia. If Trump and Clinton were both out there, they're not going to snitch on themselves, even if it means taking the other one down, because they're not going to take yourself down.
You'd think, but there's got to be more people that know about what's going on that would come out, not just at this time. Because it's very convenient to stories come out at now about, oh yeah, I meant to tell people that 20 years ago Trump was walking around in a diaper with 5-year-olds.
Yeah, but see, I don't think either of those guys did it. To me, just because I've never once thought that freaking Bill doesn't need help getting ladies. I never thought that was
exactly. And he does like younger women. I remember, what was it? Not Katy Perry. There was that singer that was from the Wizard of Oz movie.
Now here's the thing though. So on the flight logs, 0 verified visits for Trump or Clinton.
Not to the island, but they're on the flights.
They're on the flight logs. Yes.
Trump did 2 flights, I think.
Trump did 8.
Trump did
8, and what's his name? Clinton did 26 or 27, but neither of them have gone to the island. Although Virginia Dufresne, who's dead, she did say he was on the island, but there's no doubt horrible things happened. The reality is she was also a bit of a fabulist. She told some porcupines, but she was the one, I think, in the picture with Prince Andrew. The horrible prince. Not even a good prince. Not even freaking
a good prince.
You didn't even get what's his name? Edward or freaking Charles.
And here's my thing. Remember, Epstein was tied in with money and fame.
Yeah,
they're not the only. Every celebrity you can think of. I wonder how many celebrities was on that flight. That would be interesting.
Yeah. Here's the thing. you've got what's his name, Wexler, and you got the Black. I forget his first name. Those two guys, the power that those two had, and the fact that both of them basically resigned, left their post after everything came out, and then nobody ever heard from them again as they enjoy their billions of dollars is insane. What about what's his name in the wheelchair?
Yeah.
The mathematician.
Remember, Epstein had this bizarre fascination, it's been reported, and this has nothing to do with so I believe it, with gravity and science and genetics. He literally would fund meetings where he would meet top scientists in those fields to talk to them about things. Like he was a pervert, but he actually did other things in life too, by the way. And so apparently he was fascinated. So the idea he might meet these incredibly big scientists doesn't mean he met them for pedophilia reasons.
No.
He had a lot of money and was a nut and was meeting people because he had a lot of money. He had other reasons. These bizarre, I guess he had questions. There's a mathematician that said he met him once years ago, and said the guy was just really weird.
And Stephen Hawking.
And Stephen Hawking. And well, if you're into math, Stephen Hawking's definitely someone I would want to meet.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean Stephen Hawking's a pedophile. I mean,
No.
how does he pedophile? I want you to be young.
The first time I will show you how to be young again.
How does he even do it?
I am not privy to how that thing worked. If it did indeed work, well, I was not privy to that. But Bill Gates. I mean, a lot of some stuff. I kind of think about that, but there's a lot of weirdness, and powerful people hang out with powerful people.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, I know Hawking was quite a perv, but you get to the point where you go from being a perv when you're younger and you have some of your faculties to where, he was basically just, I don't know how do you even, because he was all.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't want to think about it, but it's.
I don't want it. Yeah.
So did he marry his nurse?
I think something weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think right now it's almost become a bit of a witch hunt. And I see a lot of Salem and Epstein going hand in hands.
Well, no,
it's like the Satanic Panic. By the way, if you ever look into the Satanic Panic, yes, 100% there were Satanists. Yeah. There was a guy on death row that was interviewed about how he killed his parents in the name of Satan. And I'm like, you're on death row. And I'm supposed to believe the Satanic Panic was completely false. And
the Satanic Panic that came though was that remember when it came out of what was it, the McMartin preschool?
Oh yeah.
Remember they were accused, like the little kids were saying, "Oh yeah," and Bucky McMartin ate little babies, and then they got him on the stand, and those kids fucking collapsed. They're like, "What? I don't know." It was totally leading the puppets, like, "Was it Bucky Martin?" And they're just, "Yeah, totally." That was awful. But then every single place was Satanic Panic.
Exactly.
That being said, we know this guy is the pedophile is awful. He hung with bad people. There's obviously, and she was as well. There's 200 victims. Yeah. Not all of them can't be full of shit.
Well, what we need to do is stop being a witch hunt and find the literal Satanists. Stop going. Everybody that ever, looked in Epstein's direction is definitely part of this.
Oh, no. And I think, but the big problem for him and for the administration is you made this a big deal, all about transparency. You talked the game like you could not believe. And your two guys that are heading up the FBI talked a huge game, made a lot of money at it. And then Pam Bondi came out and handed everybody some sort of binder and said, wait till number 2. We've got thousands of hours of all kinds of stuff. And then, a freaking unsigned, undated letter that says, yeah, nothing to see here, given to Axios on a Sunday night. That doesn't play well with a lot of people.
Well, also that Axios.
Yeah, but they gave it.
If they were going to release something unsigned, undated, they released it.
Why did they do that? They did that.
Has it ever been confirmed who did it? That office?
The Department of Justice sent it to them.
Yeah, but who? It was a Pam Bondi literally sent it to Axios of all people.
Yeah, they said they gave it to Axios. They broke it that night. They sent it to Axios because it was a Sunday night. They knew if they did it late, they'd break it the next day, and there was going to be, their goal was try to get it as quiet as possible because it's going to explode when it does. And let's see if we can, the bomb was going to go off.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. It's mismanagement of an issue that has been blown out of proportion. And I think the mismanagement's why it's got blown out of proportion. If they'd have came out and said, we're still looking into it, nobody would have cared.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and also, but it goes back to this. It started with Pam Bondi and that giant freaking cluster hump.
Yeah.
That was a giant disaster. It started with her. Then it continued when, what's his name? Kash Patel's like, yeah, his neck, he's hung himself. And then, did you see that? And then freaking, was it Rogan said, did you even see Michael Baden's autopsy thing? He's like, no. He goes, it's broken in 3 places. If you'd thrown yourself off a roof with the rope, it wasn't going to happen that way. He's like, no. And then, then you got that freaking weird interview with Bongino, who looks like he is reading something somebody told him to read.
Looks like the guy with the gun standing behind the camera.
Yeah. Yeah. One of those guys. And there is, yes,
there's no evidence
of life, that kind of thing. Yeah. And then as Jones Jack says, and he disappeared for a few days because he was pissed. So, it's
what we're seeing is we're uncovering what we all know. This whole deep state concept is real, whatever you want to call it. But there's this idea that these people are there pulling the strings of who we think is in charge. They're not really in charge. Whoever's behind this, whoever's in doing it, if we can find and ferret them out, that's a giant victory, even if we don't find every last name on that list.
No, we probably not. By some of those people may already be dead. Old dirty men that died 15.
And that's it. A lot of them are old creepy men, so some of them could be dead.
Yeah, it's never freaking, some 17-year-old girl's not going to come out, and then some
who's that? The guy plays Thor,
21, and go, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the 68-year-old man who wanted to get with a 14-year-old because they're freaking gross and they got money, and you've run out of stuff.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, that super hot actor that was 30. They introduced me to him. You never hear that story.
It's the what was that movie? 8mm. Do you remember that?
Oh, I remember that. That was a creepy movie.
And what was it? It was a super rich dude who had everything his heart ever desired, and he wanted like a snuff film or something.
Yep.
Because he had everything.
Nicolas Cage, great actor.
Yeah, well, for greatest actor of all time, greatest American actor in the history of the world.
Yep. I do remember that. That was a hard one, and he ended up. They found him, but that's it. It was some rich old pervert wanted a snuff film.
Yeah.
That's the problem with that immense amount of wealth too. It makes you have done everything, and you're constantly looking for new things to do.
Yeah.
Now, the majority of normal people don't. That's not that's on their list. I'll skydive. I'll fight an alligator. Not snuff film or molestation. That's not on their lists.
Yeah.
But I do think that's why rich people do the weirdest things. Have you ever seen the Rothschilds parties?
Oh God, yeah. Like you read stories about all these things.
You guys are just weird
because they can't. There's nothing else going on.
There's nothing else. Their lives are meaningless. Honestly, they got so much.
They have wealth. They have power. They have all of the things. A snap of a finger. You've got people following you everywhere. You have nothing to ever worry about. And so, what are you looking for? You're looking for your next drug, your next big hit.
Yeah.
And what is that going to be? The guy said, Taken. Yeah, Taken's one of those things, right? Like it's the forbidden fruit. It's that weird crap. And
Taken was like the rich guy that they were selling those girls off to that rich people at an auction or thing. Yeah. It's when I guess because you're like, if I'm that rich, and I need I could just hire a prostitute.
Yeah, it's like guys who want to go try. It's like, Jim, what are you doing? Oh yeah, my IPO, my 5th IPO went out, and I'm now worth $80 trillion. So tomorrow I have no skills at mountaineering. I'm going to go climb Mount Everest. Yeah, because I've run out of shit to do.
The people that died in that submarine that tried to go see the Titanic, they were all rich people.
Yeah, well, nobody poor.
Well, what do we do? I guess we'll go see Titanic.
You know why? nobody's going to go like, you know what? I've taken 6 people who are living paycheck to paycheck, and we're going to give them a ride of their life, and then they die. People would lose their shit.
Yeah.
Oh, is this what you're doing now? You're taking people that are poor down to the bottom of the ocean and killing them?
Exactly.
Because people are like, oh, that sucks. And then you're like, man, they were rich and you paid $250,000 for that? It seems like a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, also, you're rich. How did you get that rich with a guy with a PlayStation, off-market PlayStation controller? Once you get into that, you're like,
the documentary?
I haven't seen it yet. Yeah, but it's
dude, it is
nuts.
He ignored everything. They had issues before, and he's got like a freaking joystick from not even the Atari 2600 or whatever.
No, it's off market. It's like, something you get like a Target.
Yeah.
And you're like, if you're that rich and you sit down in there and you see that, you're like, okay, I'm out before I go down.
And he knew he was going to die too. And probably the look on their face was they're fucked.
Well, it apparently didn't happen as quick as they tried to tell us.
No.
It happened pretty quick, but they probably knew that implosion was coming.
Oh.
Like they knew they were about to die.
So insane.
Like, oh, yeah. I did see that much because they showed kind of simulations.
So his dad really wanted him to go, and he didn't want to go, but he didn't want to let his dad down. So he went, and then he died. And that was he wanted no part of this because he was terrified.
See, the benefit of being fat with a little extra cash is I don't have to worry about that. I can't fit.
Yeah, I'm not getting that.
Hey, squeeze in the I can't squeeze in.
Yeah. And he fancied himself a kind of like this renegade, changing the world, doing all of these. Like, dude, you didn't fucking find it. Okay? You didn't.
You didn't think it, you didn't find it, you didn't, it's so I think we have to, I'm not an anti-rich person, but it's always been with us. I was reading a thing about practices in ancient Rome, even, and weird, rich Vikings and all kind, going down history. Rich people are weirdos.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but they tend to get weird because they're bored and
because people are willing to do weird shit for them because they want their money. They want to be around them. They want access. They want opportunities. So they're willing to do something. They're willing to put themselves in weird places. They're willing to do things because they want opportunities. And so rich people will take advantage of it.
But I don't even get that. It'd be like, I'm willing to do something incredibly weird. And you're like, well, I don't really want to do that weird. I'm rich. I don't have to do weird things anymore.
I mean, it is. Yeah, that whole going down to the Titanic thing was so weird.
Well, I'm waiting for someone to die in space because they keep sending rich people into space. And that's another problem about to happen.
Yeah,
especially the aliens that are hitting here in November.
So what? Okay, so if you guys are following, there is something that's supposed to be quote unquote a. Is it like the size of a RV or something? Huh?
12 miles. That's how they say. They say it's 12 miles, and the reason why they're questioning it is we haven't had any outside of our galaxy something enter it that wasn't like maybe potentially a comet. This has no comet trail. It's giant, and it looks like it's speeding up, and it's going on a trajectory that would slingshot it across. I think it was Saturn and like Mars. I forget which planets, but it's the same thing we would do with our spaceships if we wanted to get more speed and momentum. So
like the movie, what was that movie? Armageddon. And then you
use the gravity to,
just like Wile E. Coyote.
The likelihood of an artificial object, like Wile E. Coyote, timing it and this trajectory to get both these planets to do a multiple like slingshot move is like less than like 2%. And so they go, what we'll find out is right around October 30th, right around there, it'll be behind the sun. So it was blocked from any of our ability to see. And if it makes a trajectory change, it cannot be artificial in any way, shape, or form. And it would be coming towards us. And that's what they're saying. It would have ill intent. And I'm like, I don't know if it'll have ill intent, but like, I don't know how you know that.
Is it coming here to go to the Titanic?
Well, it could be coming here to go to Disneyland. There is I can see a lot of fun things that you could do on Earth. If you're aliens, Why not? But how many little aliens? Aliens supposed to be small. How many of them could fit in a 12-mile ship? A lot.
Tell you what, if Trump was on that list and he knew it for real, he
called him.
He would walk out with an alien.
It's probably what happened. He's probably, right around December, I want to come out and walk out with you. Okay, here we come.
Walk out with an alien and is like, and even if he was on there for real, and now you're not thinking about that anymore, huh? You're looking at the little 3-foot guy with giant fingers, huh? You can read your mind.
I sent you that thing about that guy about 6 months ago. Said that that he had information they were going to lie to us, and they were going to tell us that there would be a giant craft on the way. And it's funny because that's what they're telling us now. And he was saying this 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So who knows? It's interesting. That kind of stuff, to me, is really interesting. That's a mystery that's fun to look into. Because if it course corrects, what do you do?
I don't know.
We're getting visited by Glibglob, and
Glibglob, that guy's crazy. What's interesting though? Back really quick to, do you know how they found the Titanic?
A fisherman.
No. So this guy Ballard, who's the one who found it, the U.S. Navy paid for him to go find the Titanic, but he wasn't looking for the Titanic originally. He was looking for what they thought were nuclear subs. So
I can see that.
That sunk. The Scorpion and the Thresher, I think, in the 60s, they wanted to find them. And that was the thing. He goes, I'll go look for everything, but then afterwards, I want to go find the Titanic. And they're like, go ahead. That sounds like it's a great cover story. Then he went and found the Titanic.
Well, it's like they keep finding, they're saying complexes under like the pyramids and under these big, ancient monuments.
Yeah.
That technology was not designed to find tunnels or something underneath the pyramids. That was to find underground bases and bunkers and that kind of thing. That's not, they weren't like, let's design these satellites to look into the ground so we can find a pyramid structure.
That is weird.
It is cool,
though, that when you think about it, like, first of all, when you think about times too, that we live, like Harvard, well, not Harvard, but like Cambridge was around, right? Or Oxford, one of them before the pyramids. It's like weird stuff like that.
It's when you look at the times of things, it gets really weird. That stuff also fascinates me. The fact that no matter how much they poo-poo it, the scientists, that looks like they've confirmed their findings that something exists under the pyramids. How do we know something doesn't exist in the pyramids?
Well, you know what? If something exists, here's what I want to tell you guys. How about we don't mess with it? Because I feel like we're going to fucking open something up, and it's going to be like a genie, but not a good genie that gives us any wishes. A genie that comes and kicks our ass.
Because did you hear that one of them said that they think that the pyramids were designed to keep it concealed? If I'm going to design a monument that large because I'm so scared of whatever's down there, let's just leave it down there.
Before they go open it, you know what they should do? They're like, guys, we're going to come on over here. And this is called Alien versus Predator. Exactly. And you see in this movie, there's a pyramid, but it's in the ice. And they decide to open it up. And what happens? Boom, fucking monsters. Okay, so let's just go look at this once, and then we'll rethink.
What is a bunch of dudes with like bird heads and stuff like they have in their hieroglyphics? They're like, we've been down here this whole time.
They were real. Do you know how long we've been down here? It's forever.
Exactly. Wow, bird head people are real. It wasn't no god.
There was speaking of the pyramids, I found this other day. There is a golf course like right next to the pyramid,
That is funny.
And I'm like, I want to go play there. Stargate.
That would be very cool.
That was your movie. That was your show. You worked on Stargate stuff.
Yeah, we did a lot of Stargate stuff. I love Stargate, and I hope they reboot it. Stargate with a real budget could be an amazing concept because it was alternate planets with humans that just found different ways to solve civilization. Really is what it is. It was a fun show.
Yeah,
so maybe that's what they covered up. Maybe underneath the pyramids is a Stargate.
Trump's like, that's what Gaza's going to be if they give you the opportunity. No, BB, we're not going to kill them all as much as you would like that. It's not a good look. Okay? It's not.
It's I still don't know what to believe. I don't know if you saw like on X.
Look,
There's
some of the stuff is BS that gets put out. The media is looking for certain things, and Hamas puts it out. But there's no denying that there's shit going on over there. That like, come on.
there's stuff going. Yeah,
and I've said this over and over again. And even today, JD Vance came out today, and he's like, "This is starvation." And Marjorie Taylor Greene goes, "This is genocide. This isn't starvation. This is genocide."
But who's perpetuating it? Like I said, on X, they have these videos coming from supposedly Gaza. I can't tell you the truth of those food trucks. It's not Israelis. It's those Hamas assholes on those driving by.
Some of them are. We did our own study along with several others. Only 10% of it was taken by Hamas. The other 90% wasn't even allowed to get partially in.
That's something I don't understand, because it could be the 10% that we're seeing driving by. But they're also saying we didn't do anything. Well, yeah, you did.
Also, they found out that there was some dudes from Israel who freaking took some of the trucks so they could resell some of the shit. Yeah. You've got there's a lot of shit going on.
Yeah.
And look, I'm looking at this as a human. And here's something else. If you care about, I say this, if you care about Israel, this is not a good look. Dude, you're losing the battle. Not only are you losing the battle of you could kill everybody over there,
they're losing.
But the information battle now is we're seeing something in real time that reminds us of something that you guys went through. And it's hard to watch kids die. It's hard. Nobody wants to see that. We get there's collateral damage. This doesn't. You buried 1,000 trucks. You admitted it. 2 of our Rangers worked over there and said they left because they were shooting into the crowd.
I can't condone this stuff, but my biggest problem is I do hate the media, maybe unreasonably, but Hitler would have used the same thing. They bomb in Dresden. Look how many children are dead. Let me show you pictures of all my dead children. And look at poor me. Now I am I did the bad thing, but now I'm just being bombed mercilessly. Was it 1 million people are dying in their carpet bombing of my cities? Evil Britain, evil Churchill. Let's, you guys need to
that was after you took over like half the Europe. It was a little late for everybody to go evil.
Islam took over half of that world, but we won't talk about that. But the point is, that's what I see. I see if all the media was behind Hitler, that's what he'd have been doing. And then everybody like, oh, I don't want to see little children die. I don't either.
Was behind Hitler to a certain extent, his media, but our media, they would like Sky News. And I got a friend who works for Sky, but they were told, even when you get on the ground in there, you're no longer allowed to film, and you can't fly your drones. And they're like, okay. I mean, they're cracking down. And I get it. Look, you know what, BB, you're losing this argument. You're going on shows here in America. Joe Rogan, he wanted to go on Rogan.
Oh, wow.
Rogan told him, fuck you. I don't want you on my show. I don't want anything to do with you.
But you know what? That would have been a time to be able to ask him serious questions.
No, because you know why? The Nelk Boys he was on, the Nelk Boys were given all the questions.
Don't know what to do.
Yeah, but they were given the questions. They were
given questions.
They were given the questions that they were allowed to ask.
Oh, well, yeah.
He will not go even and do any press in his country because they're over it. They're exhausted.
I'm hearing 2 different reports on that. I was just listening today where a guy said, you're telling me that the people are exhausted, but there's a lot of people that, whether it's a revenge reason or what, are supportive of changing and making sure Hamas never exists again.
You're never going to get rid of Hamas by killing everybody.
They basically got rid of them. I don't think Hamas is going to come back for decades.
No, but you're not going to. But what you've done, though, is you've killed that kid and that kid's entire family. You've almost starved them to death, and they have no hope or future, and they have to go to you to get food or to even be able to go anywhere. And what do you think they're going to be when they grow up? Your pal?
Well, which is funny is because Egypt ain't helping them.
No.
Jordan's not helping
Actually, today, it was at Egypt, Qatar, and Jordan signed a thing that told Hamas, you need to give up all of your weapons and everything. And you need to do this. And then they also said, Israel, you need to stop your genocide now. You need to stop this.
But isn't it interesting that the people that are in that region that are more intimately involved in those conflicts didn't just say, "Oh, you mean all Israel"? They were like, "No, Hamas, you're assholes too. You need to give up
they
your
don't
stuff."
want Hamas. Jordan. They tried to overthrow the king when they let him in. They've got the Muslim Brotherhood. That being said, they also were allowing stuff in, and they weren't starving them. And they're the ones who are doing the airdrops. And this
how
is
come
where
they can't get food from Egypt?
they did. They dropped it in the other because did you see? But they had to airdrop it. They weren't even Israel wasn't even allowed them in.
But that's their border.
That was the other thing. Oh, so if you go swim in the ocean, you try to catch a fish, Israel says you're a target and you will be eliminated.
Well,
dude, if I'm hungry, I'm fucking looking for anything. I mean, you and I don't have to
people are.
You and I don't have to worry about that. We could be there for like 8 months.
I could be there for a year. Yeah, they're like,
I'm starting to look good. They're looking at us going, "We're going to eat those guys." No, you're not.
Exactly.
That's not a cool thing. I just, as a human being, first of all, the Israel thing, they've got way too much power in America. AIPAC's got way too much power. They have way too much say over what happens here. You have way too many people. Like when Ted Cruz came out and he talked about the reason he went to the Senate is because he wanted to make sure, first and foremost, basically, he took care of Israel. You're insane, dude. You're an American senator. You guys, America first. And the aid we're giving him, I don't want to be a party to. Aid is one thing, but at some point in time, man, I don't want my name on those bullets and I don't want my name on those bombs. You guys could have gone in a long time ago. They could have saved thousands of people by just going in and trying to get all of those people out. And he doesn't want to. He doesn't because he knows.
I think Bibi's prolonging.
He is so prolonging this.
I think that there's other ways to have handled it. I read too much history. I have a hard time not being on Israel's side, but it doesn't mean Israel's doing the right thing here.
No. And here's the thing. Here's a question. We're talking about conspiracy. Answer me this. How is the most heavily guarded piece of land on the planet, where you've got people every 5 to 10 steps with their guns, soldiers, places armed, they've got the net, the sniper's nest, they have everything, every camera you could think of. How is it that it wasn't guarded and they got in? Because more and more people are asking questions going, dude, this not only happened on your watch, but there's far more to the story.
Well, there's a lot to the story. I mean, it's 9/11. There's more to just story than just the guys. There's things that happen that there is conspiracies around. The only conspiracy that anybody will entertain, because they won't entertain like Pizza Gates or any of that, but they'll entertain Jewish conspiracies. But like it or not, they go, well, the Jews, forced, were mean to them, and so they attacked back. Muslims right now are beheading Christians in mass, going door to door and killing them. Did the Christians attack them? Let's look through the history of this. I hate to say it because history, is history. It's hard to say the Muslims only attacked and raped innocent people because they were being in an open ghetto. Are they in an open air ghetto? They're in power over there, and they're murdering Christians left and right. Or they're murdering the Buddhists. I don't know if you saw that one where the Buddhists finally armed themselves because they were tired of the Muslims killing them.
Yeah,
it was very interesting.
Like, first of all, in Africa, we're talking Africa a lot of times. There's a lot of ethnic cleansing that goes, the Houthis and the Tutsis. I'm like, I don't even know what you guys believe.
I don't. Yeah, but this is very religious. This is very because they're Islamic. Muslims and the Muslim religions very clearly believes they need to get rid of Jews and they get rid of Christians. And that's when the 12th Imam, especially if they're, was it Sunni?
Yeah, Sunni. So you got the Sunni and Shia.
You're not going to get until they get rid of and take over Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. Which, and everybody always says, radical Islam. Let me tell you something about radical Islam. You know who hates radical Islam the most? Fucking
Islam.
Countries like, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Egypt, all the ones with all the big power. Why? Because they know that those people will come hard for them. And
look, you don't see Dubai attacking people. You don't see a bunch of guys from Dubai flying planes or going and raping and pillaging villages, or Saudi Arabia. Really, they have a small sects of
they've got their hard Sharia law, but they don't. They're yes, the pilots or the people who flew in and the hijackers stuff, they came from Saudi Arabia, but they weren't in Saudi Arabia. Yeah, they didn't even want. They kicked Osama out of there. They didn't
As
want
a Christian, I could go to Saudi Arabia and not fear. They're not going to kill me because I'm a Christian.
No.
They're like, okay, yeah, dude, whatever.
But those crazy people you're seeing in Africa in certain parts, they use the religion like they're gang. Let's be real, they're gangs. I mean, that's what they are. They're roving gangs and marauders who are trying to put fear and pretend like religion is the reason they're doing it. They just want power. Power is the most important thing.
Well, the problem is the religion does support their actions. And so when they want to do that, they rely on scripture in their scripture that would allow them to do it.
But they're looking for the justification. Of stuff.
And so I get my point for bringing it up is they hate Jews because their scripture, that the radical Islam, their scripture tells them they have to hate Jews.
Yeah.
Whenever you find a Jew hiding behind a rock or something, slay them. I mean, that's in their scripture. So when you're a tiny country surrounded by people whose scripture teaches you that, and there's even 10% of them are fanatics that want to create genocide on you, what do? Israel's scripture doesn't tell them to go kill every Muslim. And if it was, you would look back to old, old or even the Talmud, anything. You're not going to find genocidal scripture in the original Hebrew. The 5 books of the Old Testament.
No, but what? Again, I look at like radical Islam is awful. They'll kill everybody. By the way, non-believers. You don't even have to be a Christian or.
Oh yeah,
Jew,
yeah.
It doesn't matter. A woman who shows her ankles, sweet mother of God,
time to die. Yeah,
you deserve to be attacked.
Laughing in public is a death sentence.
Yeah, so it's but it's a death cult. But what it is a massive. At this most in time, it's these guys are massive gangs. They're running around using this stuff as a way to gain power.
To gain power. And how do you stop a gang? My whole problem with this people, again, like I said, I saw these horrible stuff of the aftermath of, in World War II of Germans, the carpet bombings in Germany. You see little kids.
Yeah.
It's black and white. But you see little kids just dazed from all of their parents are dead. You see these horrible things. I guess because they're white, it's okay. But you're like, I still think we needed to destroy the Nazis.
We did. I
still think we did.
No, I don't think we did, but we took away their will to fight. There were still believers over there. There were still Nazi party people. But we took away the will to fight. They knew they couldn't win, so they gave up. The thing is, though, and this is why you have to be different. At some point in time, you had to change. So you had the Marshall Plan. You built up their economy. You gave them something else to look forward to. They have nothing over there. I mean, even in the best of times, it was whatever Israel wanted to allow, which I get is understandable. But at some point in time, you've got to say, that's why I thought, the whole thing about the joke about Trump with all of his freaking, hey, he's going to come and do one of his, hey, we're going to build golf courses and stuff. But if you've got a 3-bedroom, 2-bath mortgage and you've got a job and a future and a wife and a kid, you're less likely to get on a bus and blow your fucking shit up.
Well, that's what Trump meant. The intellectually inferior, of course, think he literally was like, it is true. If it was so settled that he could build a golf course, you know how good that land would have been?
Absolutely.
If it was literally so peaceful and stuff that a Trump course could be put in there.
Which is what he wants. He wants to turn it into the next Emirates or a Qatar, which I totally get. You've got to get the bad guys out of it. And here's the other thing. Bibi in particular, but Israel in a lot of ways. Iran is horrible. We get that. They've used Hamas though. They've known forever that freaking where their leaders are. They're in fucking Qatar. They've known that for years.
Yeah. They're rich.
They're rich, and Bibi knew where they were. Everybody knew where they were. And Bibi has talked about this, they want to annex portions of this. They want to take that. And I want to see if they're going to do that. That's the latest thing that they're talking about is annexing parts of Gaza and taking it. That isn't going to go over well with the world, because you start running into the point where are you going to start getting embargoed? Are you going to start people saying stuff to you? This is why I care about, the humanity side of things. I've got kids. I got a 6-year. I couldn't even imagine that and what they're going through. We're so blessed. I mean, look at us, for God's sakes. Today I was talking to my radio show about do you remember Goober, the freaking the peanut butter and jelly?
Yeah.
I'm talking about how amazing Goober was. Oh my God. It was we have to we're so blessed. And I look over there and I say, this has gone on forever. And it's a moneymaker for somebody, because I guarantee you people are making money off this.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to be making money. Follow the money. But we have to come up with something different if we're really serious about peace. Starving them to death is not going to endear you to the world.
No, there comes up. Yeah.
Battle. And it's 2 years almost, man. 2 years. And you're not even talking about the hostages anymore. That's like a throwaway at the end.
I don't even know the hostages are alive.
Yeah, I don't think
It's
so.
been 2 years. And those people are savages. The Hamas is savages. Are those hostages even alive?
Israel could have killed half of them by bombing shit.
They could have killed. Yeah. We don't even know they're there.
No.
I think Israel is in that hard place. It needs to realize that this is a propaganda war and it's a long war. It's not going to be over in 2 years. It's not going to be over in a year. You're going to be fighting Hamas till you eradicate it for a long time, but be smarter. If you killed 1,000 Hamas, you just, like the pager thing, all of a sudden, somehow, in 5 years, you said we just blew up 1,000 of them, the whole world. Cool. We don't care. They're evil people. You killed 1,000 of them. We have no problem. Israel needs to, but it's like I said, it's Bibi. Bibi realizes he's got some consequences to face the second this is over. And so he's going to draw this out. But the Israelis have proven to be very ingenious getting back against their enemies. They need to go back to those plans.
But the other side of it is you're going to fight this forever if you don't decide, look, we've got to give them a real opportunity at a two-state solution.
Yeah.
And this has to be a situation too where BB had talked about the Oslo, all that stuff in Oslo. He said, oh yeah, we put poison pills in there, things they could never withstand. And we knew they would say no, because it's also good to have, like, let's be real. Batman wants to catch fucking the Joker, but he likes catching the Joker. And if the Joker gets caught and then he goes away forever, then who's he going to catch?
BB wasn't in charge back then during the Oslo Accords. It was,
no, but it didn't matter.
Dr. Bean or something like that.
Yeah, but he was still there as part of it. He's been a part of
the government. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's been a part of all, like, and Ed Hubarak said the other day, BB has no want to stop this thing.
No.
And he also said revenge is not a policy.
No. Well, here's the problem that you have to. I saw some. I couldn't watch it all. It's horrible when you watch those tapes of what happened on.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It's horrible. You can't watch. I watched them. I was like, oh my god, I can't watch this. And the glee that those Hamas people and. I saw when the Germans were creating atrocities, all the German people waving flags and being happy with them and going, I don't really consider them innocent. I saw when Hamas was parading those poor girls with bloody pants and stuff around, and all the Palestinians praising them, these innocent people cheering on these guys that just finished this bloody attack. And them calling home and telling the mom, the recordings are, Mom, Dad, I just killed Jews with my bare hands. And they're like, oh, praise Allah, blah, blah,
That's a tough thing to watch.
I see how, if I was a Jew, not even a Jew, I can see, like, if you did that in my family, I'll murder you all.
And it's the same thing. If I'm on the other side and I am 9 or 6, my entire family's been killed, I've got nothing to look forward to. You kill my entire family, you put your boot on my throat. At some point in time, if I get away from this, I'm fucking coming for you.
That's why that's why the Jews need to stay in incredible power base, because you're right. Because these are evil people they're fighting that instead of seeing, like, what I hate? The little German kid who saw his parents die. Oh, they were both SS members. Maybe we were doing something wrong.
But they had a future. Here's the problem. We
tell that to the East Germans.
The war away from them because we fought them to the point where they could exist no longer in a war footing, but we replaced it with a future that included becoming a powerful nation economically, having a future to look forward to. If they continue to have to ask America if they can go across the street or if they can have a piece of food, you bet your candy ass they would look at Americans much different.
It is true, but remember, there's 2 million Palestinians in Israel or something like that they can vote. They can vote in elections. They have jobs. They're not stuck in the war-torn part.
Yeah.
How many Jews live in the other side? They can just walk around without being attacked. Nobody talks about that. They talk the red hand thing that a lot of the liberal nut jobs in Hollywood were putting up, and it was a sign of Palestinian.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh yeah, they stopped because they realized the red hand was when some poor Jews drove into the wrong part of Palestine. The cops rounded them up and beat them to death. One Jew put his hand on the window. It was a bloody hand, and that became a symbol of.
I didn't even know that. I thought that was honestly. I thought that was a horror movie thing.
Yeah, exactly. And so people wised up and they stopped using it. But you're like, okay, well, you're talking about people that would just randomly. You couldn't go in there if you were a Jew. There has to be a fundamental change, and this is a fundamental change. Was it gone too far? I can argue that yes, but it needs to be a fundamental change.
Here's the thing: the fundamental change is, if we're America first, we need to think about us. How much more can we pour into this, and how much more do we want to start becoming a pariah that is propping up somebody who's killing a bunch of people and starving them to death? If that's because what did their guy say last week? One of their forgot his name. One of their war ministers said, "Yeah, we're going to starve. Let's keep starving them to death." All of them. If your goal is genocide, if you think the world's going to greet you as liberators, they're not.
No.
And you're going to lose out because what's going to end up happening is you're going to become a pariah, and you're going to force us to make a decision to where you're not going to get the help that you always deserve. And let's be real. It's because of us that you can continue to go.
Oh, everything they have is ours.
Yeah.
Our military might is incredible. Like when you look at it that way, you're like, oh, dude, there's no way. They're flying sorties into other countries just like it's just open air because they have all our equipment.
All of it.
So if they want to fight Syria or anywhere they want to bomb, they can. Nobody stops them. But as America, I believe we need to, and Saudi Arabia does horrible things. Yeah. But I still believe that they're an ally.
They're an ally.
And America needs
Saudi Arabia does things where, okay, we execute people. You do it differently. We don't agree with that. That is what it is. But you know what you don't? You're not taking it somewhere else.
No, they're not. Yeah, exactly.
And that's the thing. And you're not. So because I like I said, I care about Israel. They have a right to defend themselves. At some point in time, though, somebody's got to give them what they need, not what Bibi wants.
100%. Bibi probably needs to step down. I don't think he goes to jail, just like I don't think Obama goes to jail. I don't believe in heads of state going to jail. Becoming out of politics and never allowing to be part of it and being reprimanded, yes.
Yeah.
But I think that somebody else, and I don't know who over there is sensible enough to take control in Israel.
At this point in time, I don't know. I mean, his numbers are so far down, and they're the battle that he has, they're taking the streets. They're now becoming sympathetic towards what's going on because they're no fools. They see what's going on. Yes, some people are pissed and angry still, and you've got some of those hardcore Zionists, but the average person over there is looking over there going, look, these kids are innocent. These women are innocent.
That's why the Nazis kept it secret.
Yeah. Well,
what happened in concentration camps weren't just, put on the front pages everywhere because they knew just the normal average German would be like, wait, you're doing what to kids?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, maybe I don't like Jews. Maybe like, I hate a Jew, but you're doing what? Just the average German would have been.
And we thought maybe we could put them on a boat and stick them, and tell them they got to go to Poland or they are going to Poland. Oh no, we thought well maybe they were going to go to they are going to Ukraine. Where aren't these camps? Oh, America. Well, then send them over there. I mean, it's
the same thing happens with like, wait a minute, yeah, we're doing what? And I see that same thing, and Israel's got to confront that. There comes a point where revenge can only go so far. Otherwise, you become a bloodthirsty.
Well, you're becoming the monster that you purport to not be. And let's be real. Proportionally, you've killed what? 40, 50,000? They say 65. Even if it's half that.
War's rarely proportional, though. No, I mean, the Allies killed more Germans than they killed us.
You are at the point now. It's like, all right, we see what's going on. You've done this. There is nothing left there. They say with not the New York Times. Who was it the other day? It was the Wall Street Journal said it could take 30 years to clean up some of that mess that's over there.
Well, what I say, it's defenseless now. Hamas may still exist. I don't believe it actually in any
capacity. Not any real capacity.
You see, there's nothing being thrown at Israel anymore. I don't see any missiles.
No, there's nothing.
They got nothing anymore.
Yeah, there's no capacity for that.
And no one ever mentioned that, by the way. When they had something, they weren't targeting military base. They were randomly targeting.
Yeah, but they also
Israeli cities.
Anything.
But that doesn't excuse
with the baddest ass stuff.
Their intent wasn't to. No, intent was to just hit random people
themselves half the time.
Yeah,
was also
wasn't the best stuff.
No, they weren't good at this. That's why. Have you ever seen Shane Gillis talk about the ISIS monkey bar guys?
Yeah, those are the best.
It was freaking hilarious. He goes, every once in a while you're kind of getting on their side, right? Because they're doing the monkey bars and they're kind of like you and they're freaking shooting the gun like this and they blow shit up and it works. Like, oh my God. He goes, the guy in the freaking helicopter that goes and mows down 40 people, that guy's a psycho. He's like, clear.
Dude, it's like the guy's wearing a dress suit, top, he's wearing a jacket and flip-flops.
Yeah.
With an AK-47, and that's their military.
That's
basically.
It. That's it. To drive around in a Fiat, and that's it. Fiat truck that hasn't been around for 30 years. I mean, it's a tough thing. And as a human, as a person who believes in God and loves Jesus, I look at this and say, I can't be a party. I don't think anybody should be a party to this. And for the Jews to look at them and say, this is going to end poorly for you in a way that you're going to become such a pariah that you're going to have to get rid of all of these people that are in your government because you are alienating yourself from even your closest allies who recognize you as a nation, want you to be able to protect yourself. Go, okay, at what point, do you say that's enough? All right.
Well, that's it. That's what we're saying. We're just saying Israel. I agree 100%. These are assholes that you need to kill, but I think they're done.
Yeah,
I think they're done. I don't think they're gonna. You're not gonna see Hamas for. I think if it comes back again.
Yeah, it is. But it will come back if you don't figure out a way how to give these people the opportunity to have a future and build a path for themselves. Because if you're gonna have them come to you and basically, as acting as their master and decider if they're gonna get food, not food, where they can work and how they can travel.
That's why. I know people like the two-state solution, but if they get treated like they do in Greater Israel, and Israel controlled it and gave them the same citizenship paths and the same thing they do with the Palestinians that live inside Israel, I'm not so sure that's not a better deal.
Yeah.
Than letting Hamas
government that's fighting the war would never allow that.
Well, this government wouldn't allow it.
Yeah.
But if that's what happened, if Israel took it over and said, we're going to give you guys the same ability that all these other Palestinians have that current here, they vote, they can have people in parliament, they can do everything else. Is that really the worst thing to happen?
No. And you're going to have chance for all the stuff. You're going to get all the things. We're going to help you rebuild. We're going to do this.
We do everything. Yeah. But it's going to be all Israel. It's going to be all Israel, but we're going to.
They have 1.9 to 2.1 Palestinians live in Israel.
Yeah.
That's about 20 to 21% of the population. And that includes, and then there's another 360,000 that aren't full citizens, but they live there. So they don't, and they serve in the military.
They do, everything.
Because they're Israeli.
Yeah.
They're Arabs, they're Palestinians, they're Israeli.
They can vote, they get representation, they get the whole thing. They go to the same schools, same hospitals, everything you can think of. If that's the solution, they just get folded into Greater Israel and we end all this craziness. Everybody wants a two-state solution, but I don't know if that's the best way. I don't know. This sounds like it's working inside Israel. I don't hear any of those Palestinians inside Israel that are there bombing them, killing them, doing anything.
Yeah. The issue is going to be where if it's true that, and it looks like, reports are that they're talking about annexing portions of Gaza. What's going to end up happening is you're going to start to see more and more countries do what France did and start to recognize Palestine, which is not what you want. Again, stop alienating the people that support you. Start saying, all right, what's the next phase? It's the next day, right? Like this is what he keeps saying. What's the next morning? They're not asking that. They're not.
Yeah, but the French government is very, very, very he crosses his legs like a woman. That's all I can say.
Well, the French government is an interesting thing, but what happens if 10 of them do it, 15 of them do it? There's going to be the issue that, they can't even travel. They don't have a passport.
Yeah.
There's nothing. They don't exist essentially somewhat on Earth other than you were born here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that, that region, again, I'm an American first. That region should solve its own region's things, not Europe, not America.
Not America.
You know,
who don't want to pay for it?
Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan, they should be part of the solution.
They absolutely must. There needs to be a council that comes over,
Yep.
runs that country for several years while it helps rebuild them, and then brings up all of, these people to a position where you can now run your own government.
Yep.
And that would be the smart thing to do. But I also think they're hesitant to get involved because they don't want to be seen as, we got to come in and save these people. Why didn't we do this before? I don't think they have a choice. No, that's why they keep saying it's time for Hamas. They signed that letter saying you have to lay down your weapons. You have to do it.
And look, Egypt's more sensible. They and Israel can get along. Saudi Arabia and Israel, after all this
Jordan
time,
get along. Look, they all realize, we all want to make we all want to make money.
Yep.
We want to be successful. We want a safe world. We want to make money. Right?
Yep.
That's it.
And then, you know what? That could solve the whole Palestinian issue. All those nations get together. There is no Palestine anymore. There's just absorbing of the people, and they all become citizens of the respective nations, and we get peace without this uprising ever happening again.
But you got to have a future. And
well, the future, all of a sudden, who wants to become an Egyptian, who wants to become a Saudi Arabian, who wants to be an Israeli citizen, they don't want to absorb any of them. And I get that. And again, you've got we forget the Sunnis and the Shias aren't pals. No. Yeah.
So that's also something else that we forget is we always act like, the reason, look, as much as Saudi Arabia and Israel have had issues, they all look at Iran and say, no, thank you. Like, can't you guys go back to what you once were in the 70s, where you didn't care about all this shit?
Everybody's like, oh, why? Oh, they were happy Iran got bombed because they know they'd kill Israel, but then Iran would be right over there killing.
They would. I think they make us. Well, I don't think they would ever go after anybody. Let's be real. If we've learned anything out of having a bomb, see North Korea, have it, never use it, threaten it every once in a while, and get free shit.
Yeah.
If I had that, I'd do the same thing. So. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm off because I got to get up in like 4 hours, talk about who knows what tomorrow. You guys follow along at Chad Benson Show. Like and subscribe to all of our stuff. We're having some more. We'll be back at it again tomorrow with more of my studio that will be being finished as we go.
Yep.
So
you'll see the full thing coming in.
Party. And then you guys have a great night and be nice to each other because that's a good thing.
That's a good one.